Hello, everybody. It's Over the Pond with Fraser and John.
Quack.
My one was a little bit unenthusiastic in comparison.
No, but we
to
nailed
yours.
that. We nailed
We
that.
did, to be fair. But yeah, hello, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks. We're back. Not really much has happened since we've been gone, to be fair.
Yeah.
I went abroad. I went to Poland. I think the last time we recorded it was before I went to Poland.
It was right before, and then it was literally the day before I cut my hair. So
Yeah. We were literally just talking about haircuts off the air. I also had a haircut, and I was literally saying, like, I've had the same guy cut my hair before, and it's a noob guy. I've had the same guy cut my hair for about 7 years.
Okay, when you said that, I was like, do you just go to random people? Because like before I moved here, I had the same barber for 10 years before I left.
Yeah. So I had the same barber for 7 years, but they open in the complex that I live on. They opened a barber's, and it has really good reviews, like 500 reviews on Google Reviews, 4.9 star overall, really good. And I was like, oh, you know what?
Just give it
I'll do the cardinal sin. I'll cheat on my barber. I'll go to another guy, and they did a really good job. Like the first time, it was like perfect length. It wasn't too short. And with my usual barber, it usually is a little bit too short, but it looks fine. But it's always a tiny bit too short for my liking. Whereas this time, I go in there. Great guy, good conversation. He completely forgets who I am, which maybe it's a red flag. Because I was like, "You only cut my hair about 8 weeks ago, mate." He was like, "Oh, do you live in the area?" I was like, "You cut my hair." I know you cut a lot of people's hair, but either way, my previous barber, he'd remember me.
Did you tell him?
Gives me a bottle of water every time.
Do you know who I am?
No. I played along with it. I was too awkward. And then when I fully realized, wait, you cut my hair before. I was like, oh no, I think you've cut my hair before. Because he told me that he's from I can't remember the country, but he told me where it's from. I was like, oh, I remember you saying that last time. But yeah, he cut it, and he was like, what do you think? And I'm like, it's hair, and it's on my head, barely, but it'll do. But yeah, it'll grow. I just hate when it's too short on the side.
I think it looks fine. It doesn't look that different, but I get it. Like, because you're like, when you're looking in the mirror, you notice the little things that someone else wanted, right? And so I understand, dude.
Yeah,
okay,
but yours looks great though. You had a big haircut.
Yes, I mean, I was like, so I cut it twice recently. So I got a trim, like the first trim I had ever gotten, because I'd been growing it out for 3 years, right? And I got a trim because I was like, I would talk to Amanda all the time, but like, I'm just sick of my hair. It's annoying me. I just like, it's ratty because I hadn't gotten a trim in 3 years. So I was like, it just looks ratty when it's dry. Like, I just don't like. She was like, well, why don't you try to get a trim and then see how you think? And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea, because I've been growing it out for so long. I don't want to just rash and just cut it because I'm annoyed, right? So I went and I got a trim a few weeks. Well, now it's like been a couple months, right? And I thought it looked, I was like happy with it, But then it just, like, as the weeks went on, every few days I'd be talking to Amanda and be like, my hair is just annoying me. It's like getting in my face. Like, I'd be eating and I'd be eating my hair. And like, I was like,
when you're is it annoying when you're working out? Because that's always the big one for me, when my hair gets too long when I'm in the gym.
Yeah. If I was working out, I almost always had a hat on, or I would put it up. I would put it up a lot. Right. And then that was another thing I was noticing. I was like, I basically every day have a hat on, or I'm putting my hair up. Why is my hair long? Like, that's what I was thinking. And like, I grew it out just because I wanted to. Like, I shaved it off, and then I was like, let me just grow it and see what happens. See how long I can go. So I got to 3 years, and then, but yeah, I just got annoyed. So then I was like, okay, let me find let me find somewhere around here. I was a little nervous, right? Because it's like literally a completely different place. It's a completely different culture in this area too. Like, in that, especially in America, like, hairstyles are very different based on where you live. Like, it's just it's just very different, right? And so I found a place that's pretty close to my house, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. And so I like booked in the morning. That morning I booked it for later on in the day, right? There's like, you can book them online here. That's kind of how most like modern barbers work. Okay. And so I booked the thing, and I was like, okay, cool. It's like walking distance of my house. So I just, like, later in the day, I'll walk over to the place, and I walk over there. I'm wearing like shorts. This is important to the story. And I sit down on their couch, like walk in, I sit down, and like, there's only 2 barbers there, and they both look at me, and they're like, do you have, this guy? And I was like, oh yeah, I have an appointment at 1 or whatever time it was. And they were like, okay. And then like, one of them like looks at his phone. He was like, well, I have him until, 12:45, and then I have a 12:45 until whatever. He was like, do you know who he's with? And I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's with you. And he was like, and then I was like, let me check. And then I look and I'm like, oh my God, dude. I was like, it's tomorrow. No, I was like, it's tomorrow. And I was like, I was so embarrassed. And I was like, all right. I was like, oh, it's tomorrow. I was like, it's not a problem. I literally live right down the street. It took me like 2 minutes to walk there. So I was like, I'll just come back tomorrow, whatever, no problem. And then so I walk out and then I'm like walking and I go to put my headphones in and then I realize, wait, where are my AirPods at? No, and then I was like, oh my God, they must have fallen out of my shorts, right? Which again, I had only taken like 30 steps away from the place.
Serious aura points are going down here though, man.
Oh yes, it was. Oh dude. So I walk back in. They're looking at me like, oh, I think I dropped my AirPods out, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And then I look at the couch and my AirPods are there, and then I was like feeling my pocket, and I was like, where's my wallet at? And I was like, I'm not seeing.
Oh, bro, you're like as the aura,
dude.
Can you go back after this?
So, dude, it gets so much worse, bro. So then I'm like, well, I was like, oh, I don't know where my wallet is. And then I was like, is it cool if I like move this couch? Because it was like a couch. This place is brand new, and it's like, so like the equipment, like the couch was like really light, like you could like slide it, like it wasn't like a heavy duty couch, right?
All right.
So I was like, is it cool if I move this? He's like, yeah, do whatever you need to do if you find your wallet. And then so I'm like moving this couch. I end up getting on the ground. Right. And then when I do that, the barber is like, I heard that you're a local celebrity. I'm going to be cutting a local celebrities here tomorrow.
Oh, no.
I was just like, oh, I was like, yeah, I guess so. And like when I went up, like, because I had laid on the ground to look under the couch, I like got up really quick, like, you know, like pushed myself up really quick. And he was like, yeah, I heard you were famous because of like those burpees you're doing. And I was just like, yeah, I guess so. Like, and I was just like, oh my God. So then I was like, I can't find my wallet. I was like, maybe I just didn't bring it, right? And then he was like, are you sure? He was like, do you want to take my number down in case you can't find it? I was like, nah. I mean, I was like, I'll be back tomorrow anyways if I don't find it. And, you know, because so then I finally just like leave. And then I like on the walk home, I'm like looking for my wallet the whole, because I was thinking maybe it popped out of my pocket while I was walking. I didn't see it. And then luckily when I got home, I just hadn't brought it with me. Thankfully it was just at home. And so that was incredibly embarrassing. But then I go the next day to get my haircut, and like I had worked out in the morning and I showered really quick, and like there wasn't much time between me showering and me walking to the haircut place. So I sit down to get the haircut, and I'm like, hey, I was like, I know my hair's a little wet. I was like, I just took a shower though. Like I washed my hair. It's not sweat, I promise. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. But as I'm sitting there, dude, I just kept sweating, bro.
Oh, no, that's the worst thing,
dude. I was like dripping, and like he even was like, damn, you really do sweat a lot. I was like, I'm so sorry, bro. I was like, I swear I just showered and I washed my hair. I'm not dirty at all. He's like, dude, it's completely fine. Like no problem at all. But I was just like,
but when you're saying sorry and when you're like mentioning it, you start to sweat more because you notice that
I'm
you're
embarrassed.
This happens to me every time I get a haircut. I'm because like even the walk there just
dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like you've had like but they've done a good job. They've done a good job.
So then, while we're getting the haircut, I'm talking to this guy. I actually really like him. I'm definitely gonna be going back to him from now on to get my haircut because I think he did a great job. But it was like, because I showed him like a couple different things. Like basically, it was like I think this is called like a something fringe something or what. Like I showed him the front, and I was like, I like how this looks. Like basically the little bit of bangs or whatever. But then the back, I want to basically like eventually do it like a mullet, not like crazy long, but like a little bit more than it is now. And so that's I kind of showed him that, and he was like, he was like, oh yeah, I got this, and he was super confident when he was doing it, and like when he first did it, and like we put some of the product in the hair. It's like this powder basically that you put in your hair. I was like, oh, it looks. I was like a little like, oh, wow, like because it was such a change, you know what I mean, from like the long hair to this, and I was just like, oh man. But then once I got home and I was able to dry off a little bit, I wasn't sweating because like the stuff you put in your hair, it's supposed to be kind of dry when you put it in, but I was sweating so much that it wasn't really possible. But then once I got home and I was able to kind of mess with it, and like I was like really happy with it, and then luckily everyone's been very kind and nice, and most of the
feel like when you get a haircut and you're in the actual place and it doesn't look great, dude, there's always that thought in your mind of have a shower, wash the hair, dry the hair, and then you can just sort it yourself, and then it just changes completely, and actually the cut's been great.
Yeah. So luckily everyone's been like, for the most part, the only like negative, it's not even negative, but people are just like, oh, I liked your long hair, which I get it. It's definitely a very different look, but it's definitely been so nice, man. Like
I feel like you look younger.
That's what a lot of people have said. A lot of people said, like, man, you look like 10 years younger. I was like, damn, I didn't realize I look freaking 40.
I think it's because like long hair on men, like it looks like, I really liked your long hair, but I think it's just like the short hair. I don't know, something about it. Just like maybe it's because it exposes more of your face, like it makes you can see the entire shape of your head almost because of it. Maybe it's something to do with that. I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah, but. So that was the story. It was so unbelievably embarrassing, dude. I was like, I even said that, like, as I walked out the last time, I was like, wow, what a first impression, huh? Yeah. They were laughing. They're like, no, it's totally fine. But the guy's super cool. He actually, it was funny because I was on a lot of times I'll be like, I'll go on long walks around my neighborhood when I'm like on the phone, like business stuff or like talking to my business partner, whatever, right? I just like to get out of the house. And so I was like walking. And I was pretty far from my house at this point, and I hear, "Oh, beast to beast," and I was like, and I look over, and it's my barber, and he was like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, "Oh, what's up?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is where I live." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, next time you schedule an appointment," because I was telling him, I was like, "Dude, I love the hair." I was like, "People have been super nice about it." I was like, honestly, I haven't even worn a hat since I've gotten my haircut. Like, for me, that's a compliment, you know, like I really like it. And he was like, cool, man. He was like, well, maybe next time you book an appointment, there might be a camera there and I might ask you some questions. I was like, that's fine. You know, you might want to make like content or whatever. But yeah, so that's
sweet though,
story,
man. How does he know that you're a YouTuber though? Did he just like know someone that knew?
So there's more to the story. So I guess the guy that was getting his haircut by him as I was doing all this dumb stuff, he knows who I am and he's followed me for years. And so I think he must have been like, do you know who that is? Like when I walked out the first time, and then he kind of told him, and then I come back in. And so what was funny was I was like a few hours later, like that was like probably 1 o'clock. And then like at 6 o'clock, I got a message on Instagram, and it was that guy that was like, yo, dude. He was like, did you find your wallet? And I was like, oh yeah, I got it. And then like 30 minutes later, I get a text from my barber because he has my number because it's like in the system or whatever. Yeah. He was like, hey, this is your barber, whatever. He's like, did you find your wallet? I was like, oh yeah, I got it. I was like, I found it. It was at home. I just
at least at the ending, you had a good story. You got the wallet. You got the good haircut.
It ended well, but dude, I was literally like talking to a man, and I was like, that is literally like, that is my nightmare. Like
every
that
man's
happening,
nightmare, I'd say.
That is my nightmare because going somewhere new, one, and then this might sound weird, and if this makes people uncomfortable, I apologize. But like where I live, there's like not many white people. Okay, so I'm like one of the only white people in my area. Like, and so I'm like this fucking idiot white guy going into this barbershop, and like they're just probably like, this fucking idiot. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm such a stupid, like I felt
and the fact you've had to like bend over and like move everything out of the way.
Get on the literally lay on the ground. And luckily he ended up like the person that was getting his haircut kind of knew who I was. That made me feel like, okay, at least this guy's not like, who is this psychopath? You know, he's like, clearly it's someone that, you know what I mean, this client of mine that I've had for a long time knows. And so, you know what I mean, that they're kind of like bridges a gap. But I was just like, oh my God, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. Luckily, I mean, while I was getting the haircut, the guy was super nice and whatever, but I was just, again, so embarrassed because I'm sweating, dude. I got up and literally my back, the chair was just, I was like, I'm so sorry, man. He was like, no, dude. He's like, trust me, it's pretty normal. And I was just in my head, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure it is. But I was just like, damn, dude.
But when it comes to sweating lots, do you go by the theory? Because like I've always believed it of where like, even if you lose weight from being like a bigger guy beforehand, I feel like you sweat almost just as much as how you used to sweat. Because like for me, like I sweat the exact same amount as I used to sweat when I was way bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I know that I sweat a lot. Like, and I always have. Like now it's less embarrassing because when you're bigger, I think that maybe this is. But like in my head, I was like, oh, people are gonna think, like, of course, the fat guy is also sweaty and gross.
Got
and
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now it's like when I'm sweating, I don't really think anything of it. I just get annoyed because like I don't like feeling sweaty. It's like a sensory thing. It's like I don't want it. Like if I'm working out, I don't care. I'll sweat. I like that I sweat a lot, honestly, when I'm working out. But when I'm
I
not
hate having
working
sweaty
out,
hair.
Yeah,
sweaty hair is the worst.
Like right
I
now,
wear
like right now, I am sweating, talking, and I know part of it's because I'm drinking this coffee that's hot, and like And so I know I'll eventually stop, but it's like, I wish I wasn't sweating right now, but I also don't really want to turn a fan on and like open the window because it's kind of too cold outside. It would get too cold. So yeah,
it's why I wear a hat in like every video. I've said it before, but like the lights on me, it just gets so hot. Dude, even with AC on, like I sweat out so much, and it's like I don't want to have like wet hair in recordings. Like because when I used to do videos about hats, you could see my hair gradually throughout the video get like fucking wetter, and it's just like this is so gross for people to see. I'd rather just like get like I'll still sweat, but at least I can wipe it off my head and that's it, and it's done. So yeah, it's just like way easier because I originally started like wearing a hat in videos just like temporary, like 3 years ago, and then I just continued, and I was like, this is way easier to deal with the sweat. Occasionally, maybe I won't have a hat on for like 5 minutes in a video, and then I'll be like, oh no, it's sweating way too much, put it back on. But yeah, aside from our haircuts, I think we should move into things going on in the world. There's not really been that much, to be honest with you. Now, there was Ned Fulmer came back to the internet. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
So, do you know about the Try Guy situation with Ned Fulmer and cheating on his wife and all of that good stuff?
Oh, that's who that is. Okay, yeah. I know that story. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ned Fulmer in like 2022 cheated on his wife. It's a strange one because like it's such a personal thing, and I don't usually like to talk about, you know, this person cheated on this person, this person did this, but I think with Ned, it was such a fascinating thing due to his brand. So I don't know if you know much about it, but basically, he made his entire brand to be a wife guy. Someone who like very much loves his wife, is constantly going on about his wife. He had a catchphrase to do with his wife and stuff like that. His whole life with his family was such a public thing. I think they even maybe made videos together and stuff like that. He ends up cheating with a co-worker, one of his employees. He's got kids. It's everywhere pretty much. And how people found out about the cheating was pretty much but his own fans were basically putting everything together. They found photos of him at Taylor Swift concerts or something like that with the girl that he was cheating with. There was photos of them together, and people were just putting all the dots together and sending it to his wife. And at first she didn't believe it, and then over time it just got more and more evident that this guy was cheating on her, and from there it just completely exploded. Like this was like a really big story in 2022. I remember covering it, and like those videos did really well, like 750,000 views, maybe even 1 million views. Like the top channels were like absolutely getting insane levels of views on it because so many people were interested in it. Like the Try Guys, especially in America, are really big. So yeah, it was like huge. And then naturally, like the story went away because you can't just focus on the same thing for 3 years. And then about 2 weeks ago, he came back to the internet with a podcast, and I'm gonna read you. Let me just get it up. Actually, I'm gonna read you the description of what he has called his new project. So the title of it, he's come back with a podcast. In fact, he uploaded another episode 6 hours ago. He's come back with a podcast, and it's called Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. And it's and the description is, everyone makes mistakes, some of us really big ones, but what comes next? Rock Bottom is a show that explores people's lowest, most embarrassing and challenging moments, featuring raw, unfiltered conversations with comedians, creators, authors, and celebrities. We talk about how they not only survived it all, how they not only survived it all, but transformed their lives. Hosted by Ned Fulmer, the ex-BuzzFeed Try Guys co-creator, whose own Rock Bottom ranked number 6 of Time's most viral moments of 2022. Bro is flexing on the fact that he cheated on his wife and it got in the worst moments of the year. That's, for one, crazy. But then the worst part is the first episode is him sat down with his ex-wife.
Oh my God.
And I'll send you a link. You can just like watch about 5. Click to like halfway through, and bro, this is like one of the most awkward things I think I have ever seen in my entire life. Like if you go to the comment sections, everyone's just like, "What were you thinking?" And when I first watched it, I didn't know that they weren't together. I thought that she had stuck with him, and I thought, wow, what a strong woman. And she is a strong woman. Don't get me wrong, but in the video, you watch it, and she's basically like, I'm never going to forgive you. You're a terrible person, pretty much. Not the word for word, but you can kind of get that shit, what she was saying and thinking. And it's just like the worst thing I think I've watched in a while.
One of the top comments is, I can't believe he's really interviewing her about him traumatizing her.
I think it's like such a...
Oh my God.
fucking beautiful summary of how cooked like the internet has made people's brains. Like, I've dealt with family members going through divorce and stuff like that, and it's like I'm choking on.
Don't die, dude. Don't die.
I'm being silenced by Ned Fulmer.
He's sent people after you.
I'm good. The poison didn't get me.
This is why you should drink water, guys.
Just drink alcohol and take drugs. Yep. It's the best way to go. I've had family members that have gone through divorces, and if I ever saw the fact they just decided to start up a podcast speaking about their divorce, I would think they've gone insane. And I get it. Like, in terms of social media, it's gonna get views, but it's not going to get views any longer than after this episode. Like, he uploaded, like, the first episode got 1 million views. The second episode got 30,000 views. It's like the drop off immediately is insane. Then the second episode's on 1,000 views. And it's like, I don't really know what he's trying to go for, to be honest with you. It's such it feels a bit desperate. And I know you haven't, like, I know you don't. I know you don't know much about it, but what would you say about this? Like, do you think it's like weird to do, wrong to do?
I think like the idea, like when you were reading, like this is just me being honest, right? When you were reading the description of what the podcast is or whatever, I was like, that could be interesting, right? That could be interesting if someone has truly gone through like a rock bottom thing, and then they're using maybe that platform to try and, maybe inform like, hey, because it is true. Everyone does make mistakes, and everyone does have 100%. Bad decisions that they make. And like, there's that conversation that, obviously we're both more left leaning, that is pretty prevalent in those spaces of like, okay, when we talk about like people in jail and prison is like, we talk about like, rehabilitation, and we want that. But then a lot of times it's like, where does that, like, sometimes it feels like it's like for specific people, but then there's some people that they're just bad and there's nothing they could do to rehabilitate their situation. Right. And like, so with him, obviously I don't know the full situation, and I know very much so just the videos I've watched, which was at this point like 3 years ago. Right. And I just remember thinking like, damn, that's crazy to build your whole brand on being a wife guy and then cheating on your wife with someone that you work with. And then there was the whole thing about putting all of the other people he worked with in a bad situation, because it really kind of screwed them all over, right? The whole Try Guys thing kind of got screwed over for a little bit because of it. And so he messed with a lot of people, right? And so, but at the same time, like, he didn't kill anyone. It's not like he did anything egregious that was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that to someone, right? Like, that's like, he didn't do anything illegal, right? And at least that I know of. And so it's like, okay, I can understand wanting to rehabilitate that, but also doing it in a way, like, I understand maybe doing the interview with your wife, but like, that just, like you said, it feels very like it doesn't seem like there's much to say after that. And like what you're saying is, it doesn't seem like the podcast is really like, that first episode is what people cared about. To
me, like, I did a second channel video about it. I was thinking of doing a main channel video, but I don't really care that much, to be honest. But I was thinking about it, and in my video I said, like, I don't think this guy should go to like fucking jail. I don't think this guy should be cancelled. I don't think this guy should lose his platform. Like, I think he's got the absolute right to come back on social media. But it's hard to look away from the fact that it almost feels like he's doing his own walk of shame to try and get back on social media. Like, in Game of Thrones, when Cersei's walking down she's walking down the street, everyone there, she's throwing shit at her and everything. And it kind of feels that that's what he's doing here. And like, do it if you want to. Like, if it works, it works, But it's like, it just feels so weird to see. Like, it is just a complete walk of shame on the internet, and everyone in the comments, they're not lobbing shit at him, they're lobbing shit at him, being like, this is fucking weird, this is embarrassing, this is so awkward. And I guess it is his only real way back to social media, because it's like, because he can't just back. You can't just ignore it. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to start up this podcast, especially given the context of what the thing's about. But it is just hilariously weird to witness. Like, the whole thing, it's just
he
like...
just needs to become an e-girl. He needs to become an e-girl with
starting OnlyFans.
Yeah, and just he needs to do like the whole avatar thing and maybe start streaming, and then that's the only, I think that's the only way he
slowly
can
go down the alt-right pipeline. Because
yeah.
to be fair, this is like this almost feels like the left-wing version of like atoning on social media, because what you usually see, so when somebody gets cancelled on the internet, what you usually see they do is they become a Christian and they start like becoming pro-Trump and going like major alt-right and everything like that. They suddenly hate vaccines and they just start going crazy. But this is the first time I've seen somebody. This is like the woke version. It's like the guy's like, no, I'm going to atone for my sins, and I'm going to walk down the online internet street, and I'm going to accept it. I'm just going to accept all the shit thrown at me, because like he knew uploading this video, he's only going to get cooked.
Yeah.
And like I think in his mind, he's probably thinking, yes, majority of people are going to hate me, but I'm sure there is still that micro niche community that I can kind of take and hopefully expand upon it over the years. And like, I wouldn't be surprised in 2 years' time if he does have a very small micro niche community. Like, I know Shane Dawson has done a lot worse things, but like, look at Shane, for example. Like, he gets like, a million.
Like the Shaytards. I mean, Shay Carl, remember him?
Oh, Shay Carl, yeah.
Yeah, like, I think about that. Like, he got exposed for all the stuff he did with his wife, but like, there are still people. I mean, granted, I know especially with the Shaytards, like, because I used to actually watch them when I was younger. Like, there are people
That's a crazy channel name, by the way.
It is, when you think about it. But at the time, it didn't seem weird at all. But like, it's. I think that might be a little bit different just because like how many people like they grew up with that for years and years. But I mean, they're not like super around, but I mean, it kind of reminds me of similar. Like I remember when he first came back, and I remember I think they did a video in like the car. They were like in the car together, not driving, but like just talking. And like there was a lot of, there were videos that people made about should he be coming back, and then there were a lot of people that are like, I'm just glad you're back. It was very, obviously very parasocial, but I think that, like you said, he has the right to come back. Like I don't think that he shouldn't be allowed to, but people are allowed to be upset. But I can see the idea, right? The idea of I am someone that messed up royally, and it was for the world to see, and I was judged for it tremendously, right?
Honestly, for a second, I thought you were talking about yourself, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "What the fuck did he do?" That I didn't hear about that.
No. Like him thinking that, right, and then being like, "I'm going to make a podcast that is based around that. That could be interesting, right? Yeah. Because he could really relate to whatever person he's interviewing."
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's hard to root and be behind someone who their whole thing is being a bad person. Like it's also obviously he was around for longer than that. There was a lot more to his legacy, but now the legacy is he did this terrible thing, and it's like I think it's hard for people to kind of really get behind that.
Yeah, it's also you're immediately coming back after not immediately. That's contradictory to what I'm saying, but you're coming back after 3 years, and the first thing you're doing is trying to make money off your controversy, off your drama, and spin it into an actual brand, which, don't get me wrong, I don't give a fuck, but I can see why people actually do care. Like, in my video, honestly, like, I kind of started, no one cared what I was saying, but in my video, I was like, if an influencer cheats on someone, if they cheat on their girlfriend, their boyfriend, their partner, honestly, I don't care. Like, I understand why someone wouldn't like them, but I'm going to be real, if I had a friend, like a best friend that cheated on their girlfriend, I'm going to think you're a complete asshole, but I'm probably not going to end the friendship. I know that's controversial, but if I have a friend who's in a marriage and they have kids and they're going to cheat on their partner, then I'm probably actually going to end the friendship, because I feel like in a marriage, it's a lot different to being in a relationship, because in a relationship, you can just end it. There's no commitments. You can go your separate ways. But in a marriage, in particular, when you have children, that's a lifelong commitment, bro. You like, even if you split up, you're still connected via those kids, and even if there aren't kids there, there's still a lot of like financial aspects to marriage which are very hard to deal with, Whereas in a relationship, like if a TikToker's dating a TikToker, like if, I don't know, Charlie D'Amelio cheats on a partner, I don't care. Like I just don't. And like I've had it in the past when people have been like, oh, can you cover this person cheating on this person? I'm like, guys, I struggle to care about that shit because like as much as I think cheaters are bad, I'm like it's like relatively normal human behavior in a sense of like it happens, not like with everyone, but like I know people that have cheated in the past. I don't really think they're the worst person. I think you're a bit of a knobhead, but I'm not going to make an entire fucking YouTube video about it. But with this guy, I was like, well, when you take into the context of he cheated with an employee on his wife, they have kids, ruined everyone's lives for a good...
I think that was the big thing, right? Because they were so big, and it seemed like the other guys in Try Guys were so mad at him. They were like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, why would you do that? Like...
And the branding too of being a wife guy and everything like that. That's like so like weird to think that he even like I'm trying to like get into his mind here and be like, I've never cheated on anyone, so I don't really know the mindset. But it's like if you're going to cheat on someone, surely you look at your life, right? And like if you're in a 9-to-5 job and you cheat on someone, it's probably not going to affect you even if you get exposed. Your co-workers might think you're assholes, you know? Maybe if you cheat with a co-worker, then there's going to be problems. Yeah. But like if you're cheating with someone outside of your workplace, there's not that many repercussions. But when you're a YouTuber with a brand about your wife, and then you're a boss to multiple employees, your best friends are your co-workers. It's like you've got a lot on the line. And I think it says quite a lot about you to then just risk all of that for a little bit of a side piece, you know? Like, that's like... it kind of says who you are as a person, in my opinion. So that's why I can see the outrage. But I still don't think that he shouldn't be allowed a platform. Like, I'm a big freedom of speech guy, you know, America. But like, I think everyone's entitled.
Never mind.
No, go on.
No, I'm not gonna.
Go on.
Say it.
Do you want to type it in the chat?
I was gonna say I didn't know I was doing a podcast with Charlie Kirk, but
it's not possible.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, my friend. Yeah. Did we speak about him in the last episode? We did briefly, right?
We just kind of glossed over it because it had just happened. I think it was like that day. I think it happened earlier in the day. So
that shit's like. I've been kind of watching. I caught myself watching Candace Owens, man. She's gone like crazy about this stuff. I was like.
I've seen some of your tweets, but I know that they're for specific people, so I'm not going to mention it. It's up to you. But
all I'm saying, man, I can't say what I was thinking, but I wasn't the only one thinking it, man. I've saw tweets of like 100,000 likes, and sometimes you've got to unite with the wrong person. That's all I'll say. But no, I was watching her videos because I was interested in the topic of what she was talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who messaged me being like, "You need to buck up your ideas, boy." But I was like, I'm sorry, man. I had a moment of weakness. But aside from that, I was watching it. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I do not like Candace Owens whatsoever. But it was interesting. Like some of the things there. It's like this is clearly very conspiratorial, but very freaky. And I like my conspiracies, and I don't want to go in depth on it on this podcast because I don't want to get us in trouble. You know, we don't talk about politics and stuff like that.
I will say, okay, so let's. I do want, because it is such a big thing, especially here. I don't know how much is being talked about in the UK.
No one really cares about it.
It's inescapable. Okay, it's inescapable, bro. It's still. And it's just interesting because I am someone that I've known who he is for a long time now, right? And it's not like I knew him, but I've known who he is and what he's done and the type of content he's made for years. And I've always been like, this fucking guy. It was really kind of like, that's pretty much like, that's the most that I thought about. I was like, this fucking guy. That's kind of my thoughts about him. I was like, okay, he's kind of like, I saw him as like a mix between like back in the day Ben Shapiro with a little bit of like Steven Crowder as far as like I'm gonna go to the colleges and talk to liberals, right? And own them with facts and logic, right? That's always been my thing. And like,
he kind of took Steven Crowder's whole thing and like did it.
Yeah.
He did it better, I'd say. Like, I think he was more intelligent.
He didn't try and be, I'm a comedian, actually. That was Steven's whole thing. It was all freaking. It was like, no, you're not, dude. I maybe you tried to be at one point, but now you're not. Just get over it, brother. You are a political person. That's just what you are.
Wasn't he like the voice actor for Arthur?
Yeah, no, not Arthur, but like one of the characters in Arthur.
Crazy character development, and then he was horrible to his wife or something like that.
Dude,
in real life.
that whole thing, man. His fall off.
Yeah, crazy.
Good for him. That I see it, but like with Charlie, it's been interesting because I've always known that he has very fringe ideas and very not nice things.
Not so.
But dude, it's been so interesting. I guess you could say whitewashing, or just the like, now you go and like Fox News and whatever are like, oh, he was a champion of free speech and he just wanted people to be able to say what they want, and he was murdered because of a difference of opinion. And I'm like, what are you guys? This is not true. Like, and so, but it's been interesting because so many people didn't know who he was, right? And they're like right-leaning Republican people, and then they're being told that he was actually this bastion of freedoms of speech, and he's a great guy, and all of this stuff, right? And now they're parroting that, and I'm like, dude, have you even seen some of the clips of what he said in the past? And like,
there have been some clips that even I was like, oh damn, that's kind of crazy. Like we're not just before someone gets mad, we're not justifying what happened. Obviously, we didn't. No. Yeah, but like, I just thought I'd say it before someone got mad. But like, I've seen like people be like, the one thing that's just kind of weirded me out is like, look, I get it was a horrible thing, and we've all seen the video. It was fucking terrible, right? And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Well, there's like some people I wish on, but like not Charlie Kirk. Like I'm talking about like insane war tyrants.
Tyrants.
You guys can probably guess what I'm talking about. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, but I would never want that to happen to him, despite disagreeing with him on pretty much everything. But I just found it so crazy that America like had a fucking they had a funeral thing for him. And it was like when the Queen died. Dude, and the fucking wife comes out, and it's like Iron Man landing up the festival in Iron Man 2.
Did you see the clip of her hugging Trump, and he's just like,
and he's like got around, he's like that,
okay.
And he's like biting his lip at one point, dude. And it's like, but then you go down the rabbit. This is like when I was watching like Candace Owens' video, and it was like she was like Miss America at a like modeling thing in 2012, which was an event created by Trump, and apparently like that's where she met, and there's like loads of weird links. And like the one thing that really weirded me out is like literally a day after he was killed, Ben Shapiro takes over Turning Point USA, and I'm like, what? How has that happened? Just like immediately the bloke has taken over the whole thing, and then they're already producing content immediately. She's like on there. JD Vance is hosting it. I'm like, guys, you're the vice president, bro. Yeah. There's a war in Ukraine going on right now. There's a genocide in Gaza going on right now, and this guy's focused on a fucking
multiple
podcaster.
School shootings that have happened this year.
3 in one day. There was 3 shootings in one day, and like. The one which was like crazy the other day was then that church was burnt down, that Mormon church, shot like multiple people inside it, killed multiple people. And he just tweets being like, situation's terrible.
Darn. He said, darn it. Dang.
Darn it.
I wish we could do something.
Fucking crazy, bro.
But the whole thing, right, is that, okay, I want to make it clear too, right? What happened was terrible. I wish it didn't happen. One, because, I don't want anyone to be, especially to be gunned down in front of people. That's horrible, right? That's not something that I want to promote. But like, another reason that it's bad that happened is exactly what's happening now. It's turned him into a martyr, and people are using him, and they're like comparing him to like Martin Luther King Jr. Like they're just like it's like it's like he's the same thing. It's the same thing. Exactly what happened.
I saw someone compare him to Malcolm X, and I'm like, bro, Malcolm X would not like this guy. I don't think you've read Malcolm X's teachings if you think he's anything like Charlie Kirk.
Exactly, and it's bizarre, man. Because even like on a more personal note, there was a church that I went to when I was younger, right? That I kind of grew up in. It was like the church that I went to for the longest time. It's just gotten so weird, man, because they've kind of always dabbled in politics. I didn't think it was weird when I was younger, because when I was younger, they would even have, like, when we'd have local elections, they would have someone that's running come up on stage and talk about what they believe and whatever, right? And I just thought,
Speak to us about the Lord Jesus Christ.
The way I saw it was just like, oh, they're just sharing the person that has the same ideals as me. I didn't think. Now I think about it, I'm like, that's weird. I don't think that's right. But like immediately after everything was happening, they posted a like pray for Charlie thing, right? This was before it was confirmed that he wasn't with us anymore. And I was like, that was kind of weird. And I was like, oh,
by the way, can I just say, he was gone instantly. Instantly. Like that, I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Maybe they were trying to like stop something from happening, but like, there's another thing also. Let me just write it down that I want to touch on. Carry on. Sorry.
But so they had posted that, and I was thinking it was weird, but apparently he had come to the church and like done a talk, and they had him, you know what I mean? They had him there, and so I was like, okay. I mean, I guess I can see like the connection, but like not that long ago, they had this whole literal like memorial for him at the church. It's just weird, man. Like this, like, and they've made posts about it. They've made like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just interesting that's the thing they decide. We're going to talk about this a lot, but none of the other stuff, none of the school shootings, none of all of these other things that have happened. And it's just so interesting. And I know, you know, there's been all that talk about how it's interesting how people just will never post about things that are going on in the world, but they then post about Charlie Kirk. And that's interesting, right? And like people were like, well, you could post about whatever you want. Of course, but it's weird that all of these other things that are happening, silence, right? Gaza, the school shootings, all of these things, among very many other things, never. I'm not political. I don't talk about politics. But then what happens with Charlie Kirk, which again, terrible. Then this has to stop. This needs to end. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how do we end this? What's the one thing that we can do to help this? Maybe pass some gun reform? No, definitely not. And I'm not even like someone that's like anti-gun completely. Like I understand. I'm not. That's definitely something that I would maybe love to have conversations with people that like, obviously that I agree with on most things politically, but like about, because I know there are, you know, people on the left, there are a lot of people that are very, 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 very anti, but then there are a lot of people that are very pro. So, and I can understand both of those arguments, but I mean, I think most people that are sane can agree that we need a better, at least like some way to identify where these are coming from. Like just make it harder to get them. Not everyone should just be, you know, I think reform is I think most people can agree that that's probably something that should happen. But it's just so interesting funny because that's never mentioned. It's just like, well, I don't know what we could do to stop this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, like, literally, I didn't Charlie Kirk himself say like school shootings are just going to happen, and that's just like a result of what he would do to like protect gun violence, guns or something like that.
It was basically something along the lines. I don't think he said school shootings, I think he was referring to that because someone was asking about that. But he just said some casualties every year are a sad fact of the Second Amendment and like allowing it to be a thing, basically. Yeah,
but what I found crazy though is like a big thing in Europe. A lot of people were talking about, especially with like the recent amps up of school. Well, I say amps up is going on every fucking year, but it seems this year that I don't know if it's just more publication, but there's been a lot of like school shootings, church shootings in general. And a lot of people in Europe have been saying, well, you guys have got the World Cup next year, and we're not like comfortable going to a country where there's just no fucking control over this. And like I saw an American
because I don't know how many, I'm assuming most people know, but I learned this. The World Cup is going all over the U.S. It's not like it's just here. It's not this just one place. It's in tons of different states. I mean, and it's all over the America. So it's even South America. It's like
Canada
all over
as well.
Canada, like all over America, right? South and North and South America. And so I get it, because like maybe I could see maybe like if it was one town or one city, they could be like very strict for that period of time. But it's going all over the continent.
Something I really found interesting though is like an American on TikTok, like they were just in good faith. They were like, "Oh, don't worry, like we have snipers on top of like the stadiums. You'll be completely safe." And like us Europeans, us Brits were like,
that doesn't make me feel better.
You have snipers on top of the fucking stadiums? Like, bro, I go in central London and the only place you'll see guns is Westminster, because that's where all our politicians are. And that's like the most likely place there's going to be a terrorist attack. Like, that's it, really. That you're never really going to see an armed police officer unless there's an incident. So to hear like, oh no, don't worry guys, we've got armed police everywhere. It's like, bro, that's like not normal for the average like person outside of America, I'd say. So it is interesting to see how they're going to police the World Cup next year, especially with like how things are politically right now. Like, who knows what's going to fucking happen? But
I'm so curious, man, because especially like with the World Cup, because it's such a world event. Like, and there's so
a lot of world
people,
leaders.
Yeah, and there's so many people that are afraid to come to the U.S. right now, which before I would like, I remember people hearing that and be like, whatever, even a few years ago, but now I'm like, I get it. Like, I even like notice myself, this might be my anxieties talking, but like if I'm in a very crowded area, I'm like, damn, someone could do some damage. Like, that's just a thought that I have, and like, and it scares me, and I'm like, damn, what? Like, sometimes I'll be like looking at the exits, like, okay, how far? It's just like, because it's become so common. I mean, I can't even imagine being a school kid. Luckily, I mean, if you're in high school, you're probably more aware, but like kids that are very young probably aren't thinking about it too much, which I think is, you know, important to preserve your innocence. But like the fact that like parents have to genuinely be afraid of that, like, because when I was in school, right, it was starting to become a thing. Right? Like, there was like a couple of them that had happened, but it was starting to become more and more. Like, I remember Columbine was like, there was a little bit before I can remember. I think it was like in the early 90s.
I think Columbine was like the really big one because there's footage of it. And like, it's not even like hard to see. Like, I remember going into school and like kids in IT were crazy, man. You go in IT and someone just have 9/11 footage up, bro. Like, and then I remember one time going up to someone's monitor and they've just got fucking Columbine footage up on fucking, what was that web on Live Leak? And I'm like, this shit's just available. And like back then, like, you're like, what? That's got to be a one-off, right? That can't just like happen ever again, right? But like, I feel like when you were a kid, Columbine was the thing that everyone spoke about. But since then, there's been 1,000 of them.
Any school shooting was like a thing that was talked about. For now, it's like it happens so often that
it's a normal
thing.
Like
when the Charlie Kirk stuff happened, there was a school shooting that day. And it was almost not even mentioned at all because it was just compared to Charlie Kirk, which again, I get it. I understand why that was such a big story because there were so many angles of it, close up, like it was crazy, right? Like I understand why that was a big story. But
look at the charts that I just sent you of school shootings over the years. It's how crazy. And 2025 is on track to outdo
by
2024. Yeah, because those aren't updated yet. And there's already been 184 school shootings in those stats. Last year, there was 336. Year before that, 351, 308, 257 before that. But then after COVID, it just tripled. Like the school shootings. And I think that comes from like a mental health crisis, lack of mental health awareness, lack of funding of helping people, you know? Obviously, like the people that do these things are horrible human beings that don't deserve any sympathy, but you've got to think about how to prevent these things, and that is all down to mental health and providing the correct like institutions and making them available to kids out there who are lonely, who are in horrible places, who don't have anything. And it's like interesting because I think that isn't talked about enough. Like, it's good to talk about gun reform, and that's the most important thing, of course. But the Republicans also are trying to take away welfare as much as possible. And if you take away welfare, the gun shootings are just going like the school shootings are just going to get worse and worse and worse because you're going to have people getting more poor. You're going to have people in the worst conditions possible. And that leads to mental illness. That leads to people like going crazy, and it leads to people doing insane, terrible things. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, especially with drugs and crime getting worse and worse. You see so many people getting access to drugs and not in a controlled environments. It's just like, oh, I have meth or something like that, and I've gone fucking mental because of it, you know? LSD, stuff like that. And it's just like, it gets worse and worse. And I feel like with the American government, it's like they're just checking every box to make these things worse. And then they'll be like, sad what happened in Alabama, Texas, you know, sad that happened, but let's move on.
Dude,
it's like, what the fuck?
It's just, it's so interesting, and like this is going to be a very American thought, but like realizing that you have been raised in propaganda is a very like, whoa, right? Because like as I was a kid, you are told, and you just, I would say most people, I'm sure there are other people that were like, you know, I was woke before it was cool, and good for you, like, because I certainly wasn't. But like, I was just always, you know, proud to be American, which I still am. I want to make that clear, right? I'm embarrassed of the way that we're handling things, but like, I love my country and whatever, right? Please don't send me to Guantanamo Bay, but, or Alligator Alcatraz, whatever it's called. But like, I just, like, you just, I guess I can't say speak for everyone. Speaking for myself, I was just inherently patriotic. We're the best country in the world. There are everyone wants to come here. This is the place everyone wants to be, right? Whether or not that's true, that's what I believed. And it was like, we're the best. And like, yeah, we have some problems, but we're still doing better than everyone else. Literally, like, that's the way I thought. Yeah. And realizing, damn, there are plenty of people that would be like, please don't send me there. Like, I don't want to go there, you know?
But even you say growing up on American propaganda, I mean, brother, literally the same. I think most
that's
people
what I was.
in Europe,
I think it's common, but that's what I think. Like, just in general, I don't think that's just an American thing, but like, it's just interesting to be like, oh, the things that I've been told, and maybe it's not exactly true. And that doesn't mean that it's the complete opposite, but maybe it's somewhere in the middle, you know? Yeah. Maybe America isn't the worst thing in the world, but it ain't the best thing in the world either, you know? And there's problems. And
it's a shame because, like, I really love America. I really do. And I know a lot of people out there, like, I hate my country, I hate me. And I can get, especially people who, like, who, again, this might sound a bit weird, but people who like aren't white, you know, people who, where I think America has very much tailored towards white people. Absolutely. Like the American dream was always based around like you have a white family and you have a white, so I can completely understand why someone who has grew up in a place where there is so much racism and it's just everything is against them in terms of like institutionally, but also socially, I can completely get why someone wouldn't love America. But personally, just like growing up on the culture of like seeing how America is in media and being like, wow, you have these like awesome cul-de-sacs of communities of people who like everyone knows each other, everyone loves each other, everyone looks out for each other. And like that exists. That does exist in America. It very much does. But it's a fake representation of what America is, especially nowadays, you know. And I think that sense of community in America is definitely dying.
Like a facade, you know.
Yeah,
like I think of like a movie set. It's like, oh, that looks so nice. Then you push on it, and it just
it's like the Truman Show,
like,
right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like that.
And I think a lot of people have had that perception of America for so long. You want to move to America. You want to live the American dream. You want to go to New York, get a bagel, get a New York slice, something like that, you know? And then you go to New York and the $1 New York slice is actually $5. And then there's tons of other fucking issues. Healthcare, it's thousands of dollars a month. And it's like the shootings every fucking day, like multiple shootings. And then I've got in front of me right now, like the shooting graphs between 2009 and 2025. And it's like in the entire continent of Europe, 4 countries between 2010 and 2025 have had 4 school shootings. Africa, the entire continent of Africa, the biggest continent in the world, I believe, 3 school shootings in 15 years. South America, about 15 school shootings, and 8 of that is in Mexico, where I believe there is a lot more access to guns via gangs. And then the other one is in Brazil, where there have been 2. And then you go to America, where it's getting into the thousands, I believe, of like over school shootings between 2010 and 2025. And interestingly enough,
it's become literally like a cultural thing. It's just like,
well, this is what I was about to say. Between
America,
between 2010 and 2018, there were 288 school shootings, which is insane. Mm-hmm. But then in 2024 alone, there was over 330. How is this like not getting? It's become a culture. It has, because people are now doing it like, oh, I'm gonna fucking shoot up my school because it's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna, and it's like, sadly, there's not many solutions other than the most glaringly. Well, I say sadly, but like that is the only solution, really. But also you have to think about what happened between 2016 and 2028. A culture of guns got bigger and bigger. The NSA basically got in the pockets of the government, and also welfare was drastically reduced. At least under Obama, there was real pushes for reform in welfare, and there was the attempt of Obamacare. And people can say, well, like, obviously I've got my criticisms of Obama, like what he did in the Middle East was absolutely atrocious, but people can slate Obama for not getting free healthcare for all out there, but that only didn't really happen because of the Republicans. You know, he didn't have every form of government. Democrats were constantly going against the Republicans, and all the reforms to healthcare were constantly blocked by the Republicans. And then the Republicans came in, and now I believe the Republicans don't they have all form of government here? They've got the Senate, they've got the House,
I think so.
And it's like now all forms of welfare are just being completely and utterly removed.
Well,
and because of that,
I think we have a government shutdown right now too.
Yeah,
so.
and that's down to welfare, right?
Yeah, I think it's part of it. A big part of it is just like they want to cut things, and Democrats are like, we don't want to cut that, and then they're just being like, well, that's what's happening, and then now we're here. But like another thing that I think is interesting is, again, like we talk about the school shooting epidemic and all of the stuff that's happening, and the argument that right-wing people will say, or people that are very pro-gun, right, are, it's not a gun problem, it's a mental health crisis. Fair enough. Okay, definitely mental health is a problem. Okay, so then it's like, well, let's talk about healthcare and getting people more help.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to
do
that.
No,
like,
well, then
what do you want to do, man? Like, what or the men are just really struggling mentally. That's another thing that, the Republicans will say, like, no one cares about the men. Okay, well, let's get them help. Let's get them some mental health. No health care for them. It's like, what do you want? Like, what are we going to do then? Like,
I also saw a really interesting TikTok the other day, and it was talking about the state of rich people in America, in the West, everywhere, really, mainly in America, because we can do comparisons to China on this. So basically, what they were saying is rich people in America now, Elon Musk, Trump, all of the people you can think of, everyone that has money, they love to talk about the American dream. They love to talk about the old forefathers of America, the people that built this country, the infrastructure, the roads, New York City, the skylines, and also things like libraries and like these very big universities, Yale University, just what California is, the home of technology. They love to talk about these things and like look at our past. Like that comes from America being a capitalist state, and it does. But what these rich people forget is that all of the rich people back in the day, they were going to church. They were going, and a lot of them were going to the same churches, and a lot of what these churches taught was, you need to give back to your community. Now, obviously, there were the things about, you get tax rebates and stuff like that from that. But a lot of these people were people that believed in God. They were people that were very religious, and a lot of these churches taught. I can't remember the exact slogan, but it was a slogan that basically was like, you need to give back to your community, and they would give back a very small portion of their millions or billions, and that led to universities being built and funded. It led to people being able to get funded for their degrees. It led to hospitals being built. It led to research centers being built. It led to skylines being built, railroads being built, roads being built, infrastructure being built, and that came from the fact that, say what you want about these horrible billionaires, they were still terrible people, and they still did a lot of bad things to get their money. money, but they actually gave back to the community in a sense. Not completely, but they did give back some of their money. But now, these Americans like Elon Musk, they don't want to give back any of their fucking money. They are not building universities. They are actively campaigning against universities. They're not building hospitals. They're not building railroads. They're not building roads in general. They are just hoarding their wealth. Whereas the previous billionaires in America, even people like, I think Henry Ford, terrible human being, like basically borderline neo-Nazi, fascist sympathizer, but he at least contributed to giving infrastructure to America via his money, and so did a lot of other people out there. There's a reason why you go to cities and there are things named after billionaires and millionaires. Like, you can go to the, I think it's like the main library in New York City, and you see the top donors, and all of these people were old money heads. They had old money, and they gave back some of their money, but the new people, they're not doing that. They're hoarding their wealth, and yet they're still playing off this Americana, make America great again dream. But it's like, America's only great because at least the billionaires actually built America. They actually helped contribute to the building. These guys are just, this is my fucking money and you're not touching it. And I thought that was a really interesting TikTok, because it was like, yeah, that is absolutely true. These new billionaires do not want any of their money to be touched. And it's just like really interesting to see when you see like Elon Musk being like, we've got to make America great. We've got to build it back to what it once was. But it was like, well, if you want to do that, give us some of your fucking money.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's gotten to a point, man, where the gap between the billionaires and like the everyday person is so wide. And like, that's what is so frustrating to me about people that are not in the best place financially, that are also very pro like Trump and Elon. And it's like, dude, they are actively fighting against things that could help you so much.
Yeah.
And you are like cheering for that because, and a lot of times it's because the dislike, or you could use the word hate, that these people have for someone that might be doing slightly worse than them, right? Or maybe even slightly better, that overrides the whatever, like the feeling that of negativity they might have to like the super billionaires, right? Because like that more visceral and closer connection is something that that is used against them, right? And they don't. I feel like they don't even see it. Like, they'll it's the illegals. It's all their fault. We just need to get rid of them, and then America will be great, and then we'll be doing. We'll all be happier, right? And it's like, brother, you are in a position. You are getting, government housing, you're getting EBT, which are all good things that you should have. And you are actively rooting for people that want to take that away from you. Like, how do you not see that? They don't want you to be around. They would rather you disappear. And you are actively cheering for them because your dislike of illegal immigrants or people that are maybe making $5,000 less than you a year and they're getting a little bit more help than you are, you're going to let that override the feeling of like, hey, let's try and help each other. Let's all lift each other up. It's like, instead of lifting each other up, it's like, let's push them down and hopefully that'll give me the edge that I need to get up,
The smartest thing that rich people ever did in the modern day was create a social war over a class war. And a lot of people are brainwashed into thinking that high taxation is theft. And they've also been brainwashed into thinking that America never had high taxation. Biggest lie ever told. Do you know what the average income tax was for somebody earning above $200,000 in the 1950s? Have a guess.
Just 35%.
91%.
Oh my God.
91%. Now, $200,000 would today be $2 million. So it was a tax on the rich, and the rich paid it, and it worked. Why did America go through, like, you look at America's growth after World War II, absolute boom. Took over Britain's place. British Empire no longer existed after 1945. Britain were the big boys up until about the fall. And America were they were fucking big. Don't get me wrong. Like they were a big part of World War One, World War Two. Obviously, they basically won the war of the Soviets. Obviously, the British helped out massively. They were the only reason that the Nazis didn't win that war between 38 and 42. But America very much put themselves on the stage in the 40s and then into the 50s and the 60s. That's where like the Americana dream all comes from. And it all comes down to the fact that America were taxing their millionaires big amounts of money, and the millionaires were fucking paying it. They were still rich. Yes, they had their ways of getting around it, but there was still taxation at very high levels. But now these billionaires have convinced Americans out there that a 40% tax on millionaires is criminal. And it's like, guys, that in comparison to what it used to be is fucking bliss. And in Britain, if you're earning, say, $120,000 or more, you're paying 40 to 50% tax. And in Europe, it's even higher. In European countries, like I believe in Finland, it's 59%. And it's like, why do all of these countries work so well, especially in the EU? Because there's a lot of public funding that comes from taxation. Yeah,
it's just like so many people, especially in America, are, in my opinion, brainwashed in this thought of and it's like what you've said, the American dream. It's just, you just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you'll become, like, the reason you don't want to root for those taxes, right, is because you just need to work hard and you're going to become a millionaire too. And would you want that? And it's like, dude, respectfully, that is never going to happen. It's not going to happen for you. For the vast majority, 99.9%,
if you're 30 years old or 40 years old and you're against higher taxes because you want to be a millionaire, buddy, I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
And if you are going to become a millionaire, even if you're taxed, you're probably going to be fine. Yeah. You're probably going to still be a fucking...
But it's just people think that there is a bigger gap between them and homelessness than there is between them and being a billionaire. And it's like, dude, you don't even understand. You are so much... If this is the scale, right, and this is, becoming homeless, and this is being a billionaire, you are here. Yeah. Like, you are right there. Most people, right? We are just a couple bad things happening to you, things not going your way, to being homeless. Like, you are much closer to it than you realize, most people. But people you just don't want to see it that way. People just want to think, well, I'm just a few breaks away from becoming a multi-millionaire. And
if you're on $50,000 a year, and that's before tax, is going to take you 20,000 years of work to become a billionaire. And that's a single billion, by the way. Yeah. I believe Elon Musk has about $200 billion, $300 billion. I believe Microsoft are around the $1 trillion mark. I think they're worth about $3 trillion. So let's change our calculations to a trillionaire. Okay. I am using AI to do this. Don't hate me.
Oh my God.
So
how dare you?
To do that, do you know how much to become to get to Microsoft's level of wealth? Guess how many years you'd have to work on $50,000 a year?
I mean, it's going to be like hundreds of thousands, I'm assuming, right?
20 million years. By the way, humans have not been even around for even close to that. I think humans have only been around for like 70,000 years.
Yeah, not that.
So it's like,
for sure.
Yes, it's like, guys, you're not going to become a billionaire. It is a small club, and you are not in it, and you're most likely not going to be in it unless you're born into it, or unless you invent some revolutionary technology, which even then, you're probably still not going to be in it because your technology is probably going to be stolen by a billionaire or bought by a billionaire. Like, let's be fucking real. It's not happening. Like, there are so many billionaires, and half of them will come from very shady backgrounds, so much shady funding, and it's not going to be you. If you're living in Texas, in your small town, you're on 60 grand a year, which is great. I'm sorry, buddy. You're not going to get generational Elon Musk level wealth. Yeah. That's not even generational wealth. That's just fucking otherworldly wealth.
Yeah. And I just don't, like, why? I wouldn't even want that much money.
Yeah. Like, you feel wrong.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, to have $1 billion in your bank account, how many children have you to get to that point? I'm sorry, dude. But I'm firmly in the belief that nearly every billionaire is a complete pedophile. I'm sorry, but like, there's just an uncanny amount of links to fucking Jeffrey Epstein and billionaires. Like, the other day, there was a Sky News headline about, Elon Musk is supposedly linked to Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Yeah,
and it's
I heard that he might be on. He's like people.
He made a tweet being like, I always said to Jeff that I'll never go to that island. And it's like, oh, so you knew about the island before it was public information and you just didn't say fucking anything.
Yeah.
And then Trump was also like, oh, I didn't go to the island, but I knew Bill Clinton did. And it's like, oh, you said fucking nothing about it though? And then it's like, Bill Gates went to Epstein Island. He's admitted to it, said it was a big mistake. And it's like, fucking hell. All of these people are just evil individuals. And it's like, you don't want to be a billionaire because to be a billionaire, you need to be evil to some level. I'm sorry, but it's just, and honestly, fundamentally, hoarding the wealth to the point of having $1 billion in your bank or in assets, I think that is evil alone. Yeah. Aside from actual any other criminal actions, to be at that level of wealth, you have to be evil because surely you get to a point in your mind of, wow, I've got so much money and it's stocked up. Maybe I could go change the fucking world, you know? Like, you could just walk down the street of London with £1 million and change everyone's lives, you know? If I was a billionaire, I would feel so bad that I just, like, go and give... You know, like, that scene in Breaking Bad where Jesse's, like, throwing his money out of his car? Yeah. That'd be me every fucking day, man. Yeah. I'd just be losing my mind. Because that's not... No one should have that money. No one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got onto this. We fucking were talking about Ned Fulmer, and we've got onto Charlie Kirk and
I know, dude,
and billionaires and school shootings. Very interesting conversation.
We said we weren't going to talk about politics.
It happens. It happens quite a lot on this podcast. I noticed where we're like, we're not going to talk about politics, and then we go on about it for about fucking hours straight. But to be fair, there hasn't been much going. And I feel like, as I said the other week, like, I'm not interested in making this podcast like, we're only going to talk about topics of the week. Like, we'll make it the main thing, of course. But I also want to talk about other stuff because it interests me. And like, this podcast isn't our job. This is just what we do for fun. And I like talking about it because honestly, I don't get to talk about it in many places other than my Instagram stories. And even then, it's like, it's hard to really articulate your thoughts. Like, sometimes I'll put up a post about Israel and I'll take it down immediately because I don't want to even put that up because I know that it could just get misconstrued in like the worst possible way. So I'll wait till my podcast to speak about it.
Okay, so question, completely shifting the subject, but I know that the last podcast we were talking about the Catfish show and you said you were going to watch it and then you did watch it. And then can I go pee before this? Because I know this has been going for quite a bit. So can I? Yes, I'm going to do the same. All right, so last episode, we were talking about the Catfish documentary, and then a few days go by, and then I see you've uploaded a video on it. So clearly,
fucking 2-hour video.
Yes, clearly you enjoyed it. So I'm just curious, while you were watching it, when did you decide I'm making a video on this? And then just
I was like stimming so hard, man. I was like, man, this shit's fucking interesting. I was like, I when you sold it to me on the podcast, I was like,
I was like trying not to spoil it because it's like, like the spoiler. I think that okay, I'm gonna put spoilers because I want to talk about everything. So if you haven't seen Catfish, what's it called? Catfish, something or other.
Unknown number.
Yeah, unknown number. Catfish.
Yeah.
Right. If you haven't seen that and you want to see it, click off. Okay, and then come back because we're gonna talk about spoilers. All right.
Or watch my video.
Or you could watch Fraser's video. But yeah, so like, what was going through your head? When did you decide? Oh, I'm talking about this.
It was about halfway through, and it was like, and actually no, it was kind of like when they started to go through the messages with the mum, and she was sending sexual stuff, and they just weren't really hinting on it or like talking about it. Like the fact that this woman had sent messages to her own daughter, basically being like, "I'm going to do this to your 14-year-old boyfriend," and I was like, this woman is very much being predatory. She very much is being creepy towards this boy, and no one is really saying anything about it. Yes, they're talking about her terrible behavior, but I didn't feel like they were doing enough. I felt like they were really letting it go. And also, like, when you start to dig into it, when you start to look into the things that they left out, especially between the relationship of her and Owen, it was like, what's going on here? Why is she even in this show? I understand it's a great hook. It's very interesting. It's the main reason that we watched it. But I was just like very confused by it. And I started to think about it more. I started to search it up. I had a little Instagram messages about it because I put up some stories about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video about this. So I got working. I started doing some research. And I messaged my researcher being like, yo, let's get cooking. I was like, you do a big research document for me. I'm going to do research whilst you do that research. They sent me a big document of information going through the entire timeline, pretty much very concise. Louisa is always an absolute beast when it comes to research. And I just kind of like for days on end was just like non-stop with this video. Like I've not had that feeling for a video for a very, very long time where it's like, no, I really want to make this video. It was like actually really nice because I was like, oh, this is like the first time in a while I've had that like fire in the stomach of like, I really want to make this video and I really want to get it out soon. And it wasn't even like a views thing. Like I didn't, honestly, I said to my mates, I was like, I think this video is going to stink it up because it's completely different to what I usually talk about. But I think it's on around 400,000 views now, which I was like very grateful for because that's like quite a different topic to usual. And yeah, it was. I think it was probably one of my favorite videos that I've done because I was like, I think I've covered it very concisely, but also to a point of where you don't actually need to watch the Netflix documentary to watch my video. So that was my story.
Like, dude, because it was spoiled for me, right? And not on purpose. I think it was my sister was like, she posted a picture of the mom and was like, I can't believe she was messaging her daughter this stuff. So when I started watching the show and I saw the mom, I was like, oh, okay. I already know what's going to happen. But like, even then, that's why like, even if you get it spoiled, I think I said that during the first podcast when we were talking about it, like check it out still because it's still worth watching. It's just crazy, man. The whole situation. I think like I've seen some people be like, well, you know, the daughter doesn't seem like she even really cares when the police officer comes over and like confronts them. But I was just like, the way that he does it, if I was her, I wouldn't even really understand what was happening. Like, cause he never says your mom is the one sending you all of the messages. He like says it in a really roundabout way. It's just like very weird, you know? And so like, I don't know. I really struggle because I feel like the daughter is probably in shock, right? If she doesn't know, I know a lot of people saying that they feel that she knew already and, you know, she's maybe covering for her mom, especially because apparently like, you know, they are trying to even have a relationship now after it all happened. And like what you were talking about in the video, I do think it's definitely very interesting, the stuff with Owen. And like, I think it's important that people realize, and cause I even caught myself being like thinking this, but like you have to understand that like the interviews that they're doing with these kids, this is years after it's happened, right? So like we're seeing, I think his name was Owen, right? The young man, like he's like, you know, he looks like almost like a man, right? He looks like he's like 16, 17, I think.
You can visually see that these kids have like gone through puberty, like during like the process of what happened
like,
and during to now.
You have to remember,
they are older.
This is what happening when he's 13. You know what I mean? And 14. And it's like,
he's like, he's young. He's a kid. And he still is a kid now. Don't get me wrong. But like, he looks a bit older now. Yeah. And it's like, it's interesting to see them now compared to then because like, you know, they've had years of development and they can really think about this sort of thing. And it's like, he clearly hasn't forgiven her, naturally so. And I feel really bad for the daughter because I think a lot of people out there have had terrible, not to that extent, well, obviously maybe some to that extent, but like not everyone has had to deal with it to that extent. And but I think everyone knows what it's like to have a bad parent but still have love for them, like a very confusing love, you know, like some of that you just can't really explain other than there's that. I think actually the kind of way I can explain it is, I don't know if you recently saw the stuff with Emma Watson and J.K. Rowling.
A very small amount.
So she got a lot of shit because she was saying that she still holds love. She still holds love for Emma Watson was getting shit because she said that she still holds love for J.K. Rowling. And I can understand why people would be very outraged by that at face value, but I think I understand what Emma Watson was saying there in a sense of this is an adult figure that has been in her life since she was a child. She's basically been like a second. Yeah, she changed her life and was like a second mother to her, pretty much. From what I've read in the past, like J.K. Rowling was very much like a mother figure in the background scenes to these 3 kids in particular, and it's like I get the love there that she holds for JK, because it's like I've had love for family members who I know are terrible, but you just have that really sickening and confusing feeling there of like, you know, they've done these bad things, but just because of your past experiences, the love is there. So I get in this in the situation with the daughter why she still holds that love. Now maybe when she gets older, that will start to diminish, maybe. Some people it doesn't. Some people it stays, but they want to stay away because they're older and they understand more about why it was so terrible, what she did. But at this point of time, she still is very young, and it's like sad to see. And I don't know if it was appropriate for this documentary to even exist, to be honest with you, because it isn't that long ago that all of this really took place, to a point of, well, I don't think it's mentioned in the documentary, but the mother still legally is not allowed near her daughter, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And that's crazy.
The whole thing, man, it's just wild. And like you said, it's interesting, especially because so many of these kids, I mean, they're kids, right? And so they're obviously on social media. And so now they're coming out and talk. And it's just like a lot of the stuff that you shared in your video. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And like, you just feel bad kind of for everyone. Like, especially like the young woman that she was like, oh, this is the bully. And you know, they kind of started, you know, going after her. And like, the whole thing, man, it just like the mother knew the whole time that this witch hunt against this child, it was happening because she orchestrated it, basically. Like, she orchestrated that witch hunt. She like kind of made it so that, you know, I forget her name, but like the bully girl was, like, people were like, oh no, it makes sense that she would have sent this because she had this many points in the game and she was, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, man. And just the things that she said in the text is just crazy to say to your daughter that basically, I want you to yourself.
Yeah, she pushed her daughter to suicide. And she also was sexually messaging about Owen, describing what she wants to do to this 13-year-old at the time.
Yeah, dude.
Just like pure, utter insanity. And I think the jail sentence is crazy. I feel like she should have gone to jail for longer. I really do.
Yeah, and
like she framed another girl as well.
Yeah. And the reaching out to Owen's new girlfriend that doesn't even live in the area. Like, that was one
and that doesn't get brought.
It didn't get brought up, and I'm still like, how did she get that number? How?
Yeah, like, she's a prime level stalker, and at the ending, they're like going through, oh, it could be cyber Munchausen's, and like, I did research into that for my video, and I'm like, Munchausen's doesn't make any sense, because Munchausen's is when you go onto social media for attention, pretending to have an illness, or just in general thinking that you have an illness, and to a point of where it just like manifests even further. That's not what she was doing. She was being a predator stalker. She was being a horrible human being. She wasn't pretending to have an illness or anything like that. So I can kind of get why someone who doesn't understand Munchausen's would think that, but it's not that. I was reading articles by actual psychologists, and they were completely agreeing with what I'm saying here of it wasn't Munchausen's. No, it definitely was some form of mental illness, but it wasn't Munchausen's. And I just don't understand why they would do this documentary and not get a psychologist into it to actually talk about what was going on here, how this can be prevented, and why she did these things. They were just speculating towards the ending, and I was so confused, being like, you're fucking Netflix. Surely you have like the due diligence to do more here, like get more like research into this sort of thing.
Yeah, dude, it was so interesting too, watching the police footage of like when the dad came home, and I was just like, bro, he looked so I was just watching, I was like, dang, like, could you imagine that, dude? Like, figuring that out in front of a police officer and just like, I can't even. And then at the same time, figuring out that you weren't going to work, you didn't have a job. Like, she just completely ruined not just her life, but her whole family's life because of this. Yeah.
Terrible, man. one of the weirder things I think I've ever seen, and the fact it's like the fact that the one thing that's really crazy is the fact that she reenacts her sending the texts. Like,
why would you do that, dude? All those memes.
How much fucking money do you think she was paid to do this? Was she paid? Do you think? Surely she was paid a little bit of money. Or something.
You almost hope so, because why else would you put yourself in that position? And I just love the way that they open it, and she's like, I just couldn't believe. And it's like, bro, what do you mean? You were the one doing it. And then like, I didn't send the first few. It's like, I think I saw.
Bro, who the fuck are you lying to?
When people think you sent 4,000 terrible texts to your daughter and her boyfriend, but you really only sent 3,997 terrible, and it's just like
when you only sent a few pedophilic messages to your 13-year-old daughter's son,
and then making
boyfriend.
all those images too, and like spending your time like that. It's just bizarre, man.
She made fucking fan edits pretty much of Owen
and then like
and
the
stuff.
The stuff that this might be kind of gross, but like. This is where my mind was, like the messages, some of the messages he sent to her daughter and to Owen, like I think she was literally gooning. Like she was probably like,
she fucking was, bro,
pleasuring herself while she was sending these messages. That's the vibe I get, and like that's crazy.
But why else would she be? Why else would she be sending sexual messages like this?
Yeah.
She was literally making up scenarios, being like, we're going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's like, the only explanation, in my opinion, is she is obsessed with Owen. She is not just emotionally, but sexually obsessed with this kid. Yeah. That's the only thing I can really take from it in terms of like a hypothesis. Like, why else would she be doing this? Because you can say, oh, well, she just wanted to protect. That's what was crazy as well. She goes, oh, I went for... There's a fucking moth. Big ass moth.
It's her, dude.
Get out of my face. I'm being attacked. Can you see this?
Yes, I see it.
It's not that big, to be fair. Well, how the fuck did a moth get in here? I'm in a flat. I'm not high up, but Kenji's eyeing it up now. Kill it. Get it, Kenji. Get it. Go on, get it. He's actually trying to kill it.
I believe in him. He'll do it.
Oh, he's gonna get it. He's so blind. Hey, it's here. Oh no, don't. That's what I am. Just ignore it. Sorry. Yeah, getting back into it. The one thing that I found crazy was she brings up her story, which is awful, of her sexual assault and being raped when she was younger, which is terrible, obviously. But the context of her bringing that story up makes no correlation to anything she's saying. She's like, I wanted to protect my daughter from these things, and it's like, but you kept on texting him after they had broken up. Yeah. You found his new girlfriend and started sending her insane messages. That doesn't correlate with wanting to protect your daughter from being sexually assaulted. And the fact that you would even use that as an excuse is fucking mental. Mm-hmm. You used a potential idea of your daughter going through SA as a way to justify you sending pedophilic messages to her 13-year-old boyfriend. And sending her about the boyfriend.
Your entire life and your family's life.
Yeah,
and like
crazy.
Completely everything. Just ruining everything.
I think it shows a complete lack of responsibility too. Like, and another thing that wasn't mentioned is she broke her parole on New Year's Eve. She went to the daughter's house and spent time there trying to be with the daughter and stuff like that. She didn't respect the legal aspect to it. And now she can't see her daughter for even longer because of that. And on top of like everything else of what she was saying in the Netflix documentary, I don't think this woman really has taken any responsibility of her actions. And I really think that, I mean, honestly, like, she probably won't do it again, but who knows, Like, this is an insane woman that we're dealing with, bro.
Yeah. Crazy, man. I'm glad you liked it, though. Made me happy.
Yeah.
It's always like a good feeling when you show someone something and then they really like it and you're like, nice.
It's a good feeling when you tell someone to watch something and they've uploaded a 2-hour video 5 days later. Like, I don't think you can get a better like feedback loop than that, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it was a good recommendation. And usually when someone recommends something to me, I'm like,
no, trust me, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Like, I've got very niche taste. Well, no, I don't have niche tastes, but like, I'm not usually someone that watches a documentary and I'm like, oh, I've got to talk about this. I've got to really make a video on it. So it was I know this is why, like, I get why Netflix did it in the way they did, because how they fucking produce their documentaries is probably like they go to the little AI algorithm. They're like, how do we get the best like traction? How do we get the best viewer retention? And the algorithm probably spat out what we've seen, and it fucking works. We sat through it. Everyone spoke about it. I made my video about it. Netflix don't give a shit about the criticism that they got about it, because we'll just watch the next documentary because it's interesting, unfortunately, and we're little consumers that will consume.
True, 100%.
Give me more documentaries like this, Netflix, so I can make more YouTube videos.
Yes.
Talking of one documentary, I think will happen eventually, because we've seen documentaries about YouTubers and influencers. How long until we get the Amber Lynn Reid documentary?
Dude, I mean, yeah, I would be.
She'd fucking
curious.
do it, bro. She'd do it.
I think she would. I think the thing that would be important is that it would be very easy for her and like another documentary place to not fully understand the whole situation. And like,
do you think they go down the sub story route? Do you reckon they go down like?
I think it's possible. Like, I'm not saying that would happen, but that would be something that I would be like.
It's easy to go down that route though if you don't know what you're talking about, because I've gone down that route, and there's been YouTubers that have made documentaries about Amber Lynn that have gone down that route, but they don't necessarily. And the problem is with knowing the law. You have to also accept that there are some crazies on the side against Amber Lynn.
Yeah.
But and it's like dissecting the truth of what's going on here. And it does come down that, she's done a lot of bad shit. And I think, unfortunately, when you see these like influencer documentaries, they're like, let's get a new documentary out. Let's make some money. Let's get some views.
I think it would be tough with Amber Lynn. Sorry to cut you off. I think it would be tough because I feel like normally documentaries, they try and focus on like a singular event that is like, this is with Amber Lynn, that doesn't really exist. Like, there are a lot of like touchstones that people will mention, but there's not like that one big thing, right? Like, I mean, maybe like the whole Tammy situation where her aunt is now suing her. I don't know if it's still happening, but that was happening. That's a pretty big deal, but it's not like a huge crazy thing. Like, I think about like with Shane, if they made a documentary about that, I think there's like a lot of really intense things that had happened. But even with him, I think it would be kind of difficult because it's just like little things over time that has like been like, there's just a mountain of evidence of things that people don't like. Shane has tons of fans still, but like, or like Onision, right? Like there's
too much.
Yeah, there's just so many things, and so I think it would be kind of tough to do like basically like a lol-cow documentary, right? I think that's why the Chris Chan one is freaking. There's like 50, 60, 70 parts. I don't even know.
I had to tap out, man. Documentary. I think I got to part 30, and I was like, I feel like this is fucking rotting my brain.
Yeah,
like it's just so internet pilled. It's so internet pilled. It's too much.
Yeah. So like, I think it could happen, but I'm not sure how interesting it would really be. Like, I think if this sounds terrible, but I think if maybe she passed away, like I could see like if say she crazy. I know. I'm just saying that this is what it would take, I think, for it to be interesting, a documentary enough to be like to have something that would be a catch, right? Like if she like passed away doing a mukbang live or something crazy like that, like then it'd be like, this is the hook that gets you caught in or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, something like that. But
that's why the feeder story was so interesting, because someone did die in that story. Yeah. Someone like obviously got to a very heavy weight and they passed away, and Amber Lynn started dating the person that you could argue contributed to that weight gain.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I'm just too close to the situation, and I'm not a documentary filmmaker, so maybe someone that is could see this and be like, oh, I can make a thread that would make sense easily, right? Maybe that's true. I think like, because obviously I've been talking about her for so long and have been following her for so long. And
sorry, I just saw one of her recent YouTube shorts and just started laughing. I was just looking at her channel.
Well, yeah. So that's she's back. She's back. And
So Amber Lynn was leaving until November, and so we're speculating: is this the end? Is this it? Is Amber Lynn done? No one was speculating that. We all knew she'd be back in about 4 days. and she came back via YouTube Shorts this time. She's become a short form content creator. And you just did a video on it, right?
Yeah, I literally uploaded a few hours ago. Just because I was like, man, I haven't talked about Amberlynn in a long time, and let's like kind of see. I had like a couple people had sent me like when she first posted her first YouTube short. When she first posted, people were like, oh, you know, she's back, and I watched it. I was like, whatever, it's really not much. But the fact that she's uploaded like 4 of them, I was like, okay, there's enough to at least like, hey, this is what's going on now.
I've only seen one.
It's interesting because it feels like she basically has gone the complete opposite of what she was doing, right? So for the longest time, Amberlynn was a, you know, regular YouTube creator, made, you know, quote unquote regular videos that were, you know, 10 minutes to or more long, right? That was kind of her MO for a long time. But then, you know, she for a little bit she was like, I'm gonna do live streams. So she hasn't uploaded a YouTube full length video in like 2 to 3 months now. Right. And then she went a few months doing live streams where she's just sitting talking about nonsense for 2-ish hours a couple times a week. That was her MO for a few months. Now with these shorts, she's making very short videos where she basically says nothing. And they're just like ASMR videos of her.
The one where she's at work is so funny, man. I was just, like, what?
It's just so confusing. Like, I think what has happened is Amberlynn has fallen down her own rabbit hole of watching content creators that are making maybe ASMR type of work.
Content creators that have jobs.
Yeah, that actually maybe she does. That's what I was speculating in my video is like, because she says, you know, come with me for a day working at home from 2 to 9 or something like that, right? And then she shows herself eating, and it's just what I said in the video. It's so bizarre because I think the reason most people would make an ASMR full day of eating at work is because they are at work and there are a lot of people and they're not going to just film themselves talking to their phone while they're at work. So they do ASMR where they just put the phone down and eat like they normally would. But now they're filming themselves, but no one knows, right? Because they're not, hey guys, well, I'm at work right now. Look, you know, they're not going to do that. So it's just so
deliberately
funny.
It's so deliberately bait though, because the title of her short is literally what I ate working from home 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. And she fucking knows, man. She knows that she
knows. And I see the little smirk with her. And like, if you look at the video, the lighting basically doesn't change from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. and like, it looks like there's still light outside. And it's like, it is currently fall now. Like at 9 p.m. it is dark. It is very dark. And so I'm just like, I feel like it's just trolling, but like, why?
It's got to be trolling. It's got to be trolling.
Though? Like, what is the point?
Well, yeah, she's just getting ratioed. Like what the first one she got 100,000 views, 2,000 likes, and the top comment has 5,000 likes. And it's just me when I pretended I had office work to do when I was 8 years old.
Well, because you're just sitting there like typing. And like, again, I even said in my video, like, I think it would be beneficial for her to get a quote unquote real job, normal job. Again, and this is someone that YouTube is my job, right? But like if she wants to get a normal job that is away from the spotlight, I think that would be good for her. If she was able to find something that she could do from home, I think that would be beneficial for her mental health, because the situation she's in, that she has a big part of a role to play in, is that she's at this position where the types of videos that she makes and the content and everything that circles it is not very positive. It's just not right for her mental health. So I think that being able to find a job that is away from the public eye would be beneficial for her. I think it's a good idea. But it doesn't seem like there's an actual job. So then it's like, okay, so is she saying that she's working on YouTube stuff during this time? Fair enough, because I even said in my video, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Or if you're editing your own videos, it can take, I was like, my videos aren't, you know, they don't take that long to edit. But some people like you know, that takes a long time to edit your videos, and even other people, right? So that's a huge chunk of time that I could see you spending time editing the video, or talking to brands and like working on sponsorship. That takes a lot of time, right? Working on the video, scripting. These are all things, respectfully, that Amberlynn does not do. And I say that because neither do I. So I'm not trying to sit here like, I spend so much time editing my videos, but she does not do that. So what are you typing for hours and hours and hours a day? That's what it's like. So it's like, maybe that is a real, quote unquote, real job that she has, but
What job would you say she had? Like a call center job?
Like it seems like with the amount that she's typing, it seems like maybe data analyst, or data entry person. You just look at one page and then enter the data somewhere. I don't know. Like,
can you imagine your data being analyzed by Amberlynn Reed? That's a terrifying thought.
I have no idea, dude. Honestly, I don't know. But she has.
Can you imagine if she had like some really controversial job as well? Like it just makes things like she works for like the Israeli government or something. Like just fucking the worst possible job she could. Because like I imagine like she just does everything wrong. Like every time there's a story about Amberlynn, even when she's not necessarily in the wrong, she does things wrong. And I'm like, I don't trust this, man. She's working with some suspicious people, man. Yep. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing, but that's a joke, by the way. Obviously, I don't think she's working with fucking Israel, but yeah. I just found it really funny when I saw it, because firstly, it was like, oh, I'm leaving social media for like until November. She couldn't help herself. She could not help herself. And honestly, I kind of rate it, to be honest with you. She's good at trolling, and I can respect that part of her, to be honest with you. I think like she always gets a word out of us on this podcast. We've gone for about an hour and 40 minutes, but we had to get an Amberlynn Reed section in here somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point it's just so interesting because, again, I understand, and this has been her Achilles heel in my opinion for the longest time. And sorry, I'm playing with this thing. That's why I keep looking down. It's like silly hoodie that I have. It's very fun to mess with. But so I think like with her, it's interesting because, you know, I think she wants to be Nick Ocado to an extent with like I'm going to troll, but she also does not separate herself. Like Nick Ocado is a character that Nicholas created, right? Yeah. Same way like a wrestler will create The Rock isn't actually who Dwayne Johnson is. It is a character, right? That's the way I see it. That I've always seen it. But she doesn't do that. Like she almost like the mask that she has is like basically her face just slightly askew. It's like basically her. Yeah. And so I think that she always takes a lot of the criticism too personal, and then it ends up really messing with her mental health, and she has to disappear. And then I think right now she's like I'm gonna troll, I'm gonna be silly, and I'm gonna mess with people, and that's kind of what she's doing now. And I mean, we'll see. I think that
it'll last for about a month, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm curious to see how long she goes doing this.
I mean, has Tammy stopped posting about her now? Should I check it out? Maybe?
Yeah, check it out.
What's her name? Tammy Robertson, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Or
Tommy or whatever her name is. Oh, Tammy, yeah. Her aunt.
Tommy Robertson is a right-wing grifter in the UK, my friend. No, she hasn't posted for 3 weeks, so I wonder what's going on there, to be honest with you. Yeah, she's just stopped posting whatsoever.
Maybe the work that she's doing is work on her lawyer defense case.
Yeah, do you reckon she's just like writing her defense? I don't know if anything's come out since, but if I type in Amberlynn Tammy Robinson and then put it to like the last week, I don't really think there's been anything. And that's what I find really interesting about the Amberlynn community. There's literally no results of the last week to do with Tammy and Amberlynn. And that's what I find really interesting about the Amberlynn community. It's like, it'll be fucking World War III and then it'll just
disappear.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, just disappear. And then we'll like wait another 6 months and then it'll be World War III again.
Well, I mean, because it really does rely on her posting. Like it's just been quiet. That's why I was like, there's a couple things that I could have said, like made a video on, but I was like, I just want to wait until there's at least a little bit more to update on than to just be like, oh, there was one video uploaded. You know, it's just like, but very interesting the way that she has decided to quote unquote come back. I don't understand it. I think that basically, what happens is Amberlynn goes down rabbit holes like we all do, right? And she decides, oh, I could do that. That doesn't seem that hard, because I'm sure there are people that are on TikTok, other short form content places that are doing very well making that type of content. And she's decided that's pretty easy, something that I could do. I'm going to do it. And then here we are.
I really do wonder where she's going to be in like 10 years time. Like, I think that about myself, but when you see these like lolcows on the internet, you've got to really wonder what happens when they get older. Like, do they look back in shame? Do they continue posting? Like, even people like Chris Chan, I'm like, what's this guy going to do when he's like 60 years old? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Onision, what's he going to do when he's 60 years old? Is he going to still be fucking insane? Is he... Because you got to think, Onision as well, in particular, has children. So their kids are going to get older, and they're going to see the videos about their parents and stuff like that. And it's like, if these other locales have kids down the line, I mean, I doubt a lot of them will, but if some of them ever do, it's like, it's interesting to think. Like, I think a lot of people forget YouTube's a brand new thing still. It's only about 15 years old in terms of when it was mainstream, and actually, they're maybe about 12 years old, really. I think about 2012 it got mainstream. I mean, now it's bigger than it's ever been, and I'm really intrigued to see. Like, I think I'm going to be a YouTuber, hopefully, for the rest of my life. Like, maybe something else will come up, side hustles and stuff, but I'd love to be making content when I'm older. I really would, and I can see that happening. But when you're a lolcow, it's like, does this just become a lifelong thing? We're only 15 years into YouTube, so we don't know. We don't know where things are going to go. And I think on YouTube, if you've been a content creator for longer than 7 years, maybe even 5 nowadays, I'd say that you kind of have like a permanent role, unless you do something criminal, you know? Like, I think me and you, we've been around for so long, in particular yourself, that there's no need to worry, really, that it's ever going to end unless the site fucking shuts down, you know? Because, like, if it was going to end, it would have ended 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's not like a thing of, like, we've overnight just blew up and it's become a thing. Whereas, like, some TikTokers, it's like, you're famous for 6 months and then everyone forgets about you. But with these lolcows, it's like, what does the process go for them? Do they just get forgotten, or does it become a lifelong thing?
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's up to the person. And like how willing they are to put themselves in positions of, like, if they're okay with being a lolcow and lean into it. Like, I think of like Boogie, like he has basically just, I think for a long time,
commercialized his lolcow status.
Yeah, for a long time he really tried to push against it, and like the persona that it seems like for most part everyone, even himself, seemed to agree it was a persona that he would put on, like the nice. He
does sometimes try and upload with it, but it's like, you can't do that now, given you've embraced your whole
like the lolcow lives that he does, and like I've never even really watched one. I've seen a couple clips, but it's like clearly he's
lolcow life saved his career.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is like he has leaned into that, right? And he is like, that's what I am now, and so whatever. I think if you're willing to do that, that can be something that will extend your life as a content creator / personality, right? But I think I do think that for most people, it's just one of those things that it eventually runs out, because I think the people stop caring as much, right? Because the lolcow only exists because they have a community of people that are interested in either making fun of them or whatever, the hijinks that they're getting into. But eventually that stuff kind of like peters out. And so like,
there's a new lolcow next week.
Yeah, someone I think about I'm not even sure if you know who this is, but it was like he was pretty big in like the fitness space for a while. His name is Jason Blaha. And
I'll Google him.
Dude, he was like, for a few years, it was like everyone, especially in the fitness community, it was just a joke. Like a couple things that he did.
He still posts every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does.
100 views a video.
Yeah. And like one of the biggest things that happened with him was that he basically lied about being a tough guy. Like, he would always say like, oh, I was in, the army, and I was a Green Beret, and I was this and I was that, and I did all of these combat tours, and I worked in espionage, and I can't even tell you. So it basically got to a point where he ended up having, you need to look this up, I think it was like Copper Top something was the name of this person that came out and said, oh yeah, I know who that is, right? So what he did was he had a friend of his, or a friend of his, film a video, and they put like a facial distortion thing over his face.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, I saw this guy Jason Blaha talking about something, and then I was like, man, I've seen this guy, and then I realized that's Hemingway from back in Afghanistan. All of these, that guy was crazy. And like, he made this video, again, his face is distorted, and then not even a day goes by, and then the people that are, sleuths on Jason Blaha have fixed the video. Clearly this is one of Jason's friends that's lying about this complete, like, dude, it was this guy, just bizarre. But like, it was huge for a few years. And then it's like he's still making videos, but no one cares. He's talking into a void, really. It's just bizarre. And I think that's kind of like, I think he never really fully embraced it and like went with it. So now it's just like people are like, well, you were exposed for being an idiot, and now we've moved on, you know. So I don't know.
And I mean, even think about Freely the Banana Girl. Is that her name?
Yeah. Yep.
She was huge as a LOL. She was like one of the original lolcows, really, wasn't she? Like she was like every fucking where, and now no one really cares. I mean, even like Nick Ocado, man. Like, have you really?
Yeah.
Does anyone pay attention? I look. You know, he's done great. But it's like,
I mean, I think
everyone was
with
right.
With him, it seems different because it's almost like, I mean, not almost. He clearly embraced it and did an experiment to see how much you could milk it, right? And it's like,
and now he stopped.
Yeah, hopefully he, made enough money to where he doesn't ever have to worry about it again, right? And it seemed, I mean, he had like. At the peak, it was like 20 channels. It felt like, and that uploaded
millions of views per
like,
video.
Yeah, so like obviously there's a chance to make quite a bit of money with that. I don't know. Obviously, I don't really know, but yeah, like that whole thing, man, is still so interesting to me. The whole Nick Ocado thing. I know, we've talked about it a million times, but it's just something that I was like, damn, that was very, very interesting. I
wonder if we'll ever have something like that again.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the amount of work that probably had to go into that, especially like hiding yourself for that many years, I would never be able to do that. Like just not go outside.
Pure like mental strain of it, man.
Yeah, dude. Not for me. Dude.
Yeah, neither. I saw that he actually had loose skin surgery though. He did confirm that. It was I saw it before and after. And to be fair, they did a fucking good job. Like that's crazy. I mean, I didn't realize how much loose skin he had, but it does make sense. He's like 5'5", 350 pounds.
I could tell immediately. Like I was like, he's gonna like, because people were like, "Oh man, it doesn't even look like he has loose skin." I was like, "No, it's clear. It's clear to me." Yeah. And like that's not in a judgmental way. I just, as someone that has loose skin, you can just tell. Like, you can just see it.
Yeah, 100%, man. But yeah, I think we've touched bases on pretty much everything that's happened this week. Is there anything else you would?
No, this was a fun one. This was a fun.
Yeah, we did a lot. We got through.
Stuff,
I think there's a few things that we could have gone into. Like I put a message in there, a reminder, but we didn't touch it. So we'll touch on some more stuff next week. I don't go on holiday again for a while, so I imagine we'll be on a good schedule from now. Not gonna make any promises, but yeah.
Yeah, no promises.
You've been playing. Oh yeah, last year you've been playing any games lately?
I've been playing Silksong a little bit.
Still going on, yeah.
Hollow Knight. But god dang, that thing is hard, man. Frick.
I'm not picking that up.
A couple days ago, I downloaded cheats for it to make it
No
easier.
way.
Yeah, I've only played it once since I downloaded them. So I haven't used them too much, but I just like, again, because I haven't, like, I think if I were spending hours a day playing it, it'd be easier, but I'm like going a few days between each session, so it's just like hard to really get into a rhythm, and I'm just like, dude, I just want to see what's going on later in the game, and I've been stuck in the same area forever, dude.
Normalize difficulty modes. I'm sorry, I know people don't want to hear it,
I know,
but I would buy it if it was easier. I just can't put myself through the stress of it, man. Like, it looks like a beautiful game, and it looks like a wonderful like piece of art, but it's like, it just looks so fucking difficult. And I'm like, I'm not the most skilled gamer, even when I play Elden Ring, I'm usually doing the seamless co-op mod with my friend, and that helps out a lot. Elden Ring Night Rain, I played that with a friend who's like a fucking professional. Like, I wouldn't play it by myself, but I mean, that guy, I'm looking at his playtime now. In the last 2 weeks, he has 90 hours on Silksong. That guy is like ridiculous when it comes to games. Even like Night Rain, he's got 300 hours already in that game. Came out like 4 months ago.
It's just
some people are just cracked, man.
And it's like games like that, some people really enjoy that and they don't get frustrated. I get frustrated, and then I'm like pissed off in real life, and then normally I'm like, I'm not like, it's not like I'm like taking it out on anyone, but I'm like in a bad mood, and then I'm just like, bro, why am I in a bad mood right now? I don't have to be in this bad mood. I just don't. Just don't play that game.
Just don't play the game.
Then I'm like, I want to. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying it when I am enjoying it. Yeah, I don't know, dude. But
I had that realization with competitive multiplayer games of where I was like, I fucking hate these games, and I do not like. Some of them are okay. Like, if I'm playing with friends, it's a bit of a like, I still really want to play games with you, and I think like I don't know what games there would be available, but playing games like Call of Duty and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I've just sworn them off
Like
completely.
Valorant
It's
or
just,
something like that.
yeah, fuck that, man. Like those
Dude,
games just like jar
yeah.
me out.
Dude, Valorant, yeah, that was. I think I've talked about it before. Like, that's the only
Yeah.
like competitive multiplayer game that I ever really got into. And bro, there were literally multiple times where I literally cried, and I was like, bro,
Yeah.
it's because I would be like trying so hard to get better, and then just not getting better, and then you're also being flamed by because obviously I sucked, so I'm in the lower ranks, so I'm with children, getting flamed by children, and I'm like, bro, this is
I had that
me,
exact
dude.
same thing with Rocket League,
Screw
dude. I was
this,
stuck I got stuck in the lower ranks, and I was like, I'm getting flamed by kids. I'm not getting out of this rank because I'm stuck with people who are like lower, like they're low rank, and like I've been in the higher ranks, but just because of unfortunate circumstances of teammates and stuff, you start to drop down, and you get frustrated, and you start playing worse, and you get pissed off, come out in a bad mood, and it's like, this isn't fucking worth my time, bro. So now I just try to play the games that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Do you play any multiplayer games at the moment?
No, I haven't really been playing anything recently. I've just been I've actually been getting into reading more.
What? Sorry, you cut out.
I've been getting into reading, like reading books.
Me too.
I've been reading like
books.
thrillers. And I've actually never, like up until recently, I've never read any thrillers, but I've read what is it called? There's a couple books over there that I read. One's the Chain, and then the other one is the only one left, I think, is these two
How
books.
long are
But
these
I read
books?
those. They're not that long. They're like 300-ish pages, 3 to 4.
Yeah.
But I read both of them in like a couple days, which is never like
That's a lot of reading.
Usually it takes me. One of them I was like I'm still getting over the sickness. So one of them I was like pretty sick, so I just read all day. But normally it takes me like a month to read a book.
Yeah, same.
Because I can read like 10 to 15 pages, and then I just start thinking about other things, and it's really hard to focus. But these books, like, because of the way they're written, like, cause I've never read like thrillers or like.
Were you stuck in that?
whodunit
Like for
type of
me,
things?
I've been stuck in terms of literature in fantasy. I only read fantasy, and
So
it's like
my
it's
thing
so
was-
boring after a
yeah,
while.
My thing was a sci-fi, which is fun, but there's like there's a lot of explaining they have to do, and it can be very
So
boring.
much world building.
Like, yeah. And so the thrillers, because most of them, I think for the most part, they just take place in normal life. There's no like explaining certain things.
Yeah.
It's just a door opens because it's normal, and the door opens in life. Like, yeah. So, but it's like, dude, I've literally never been able to say, I with those books, I've sat for hours and read just in one session. And that is normally like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, I gotta do something else. So
I think we've gone through the same sort of thing. So the only book that I've read recently was a book called Butter, and it was about it's set in Japan. It's about like an investigation, a journalist into a murderer. I wouldn't say it's a thriller, but it's more of like a crime sort of like. But it's like a lot of it's based around like food and like Japanese culture and misogyny and stuff like that. And I was like, I remember it was probably the first book I've honestly ever read that isn't fantasy, and I was like, this is so easy to read. Like, as you just said,
how I
the
felt,
door
exactly,
the door opens because it's a fucking door. They go to the shop. They speak to their friend. There's work in there. Like they're doing normal human things. And I'm like, wow, I don't need to take in so much world building because I'm already in that fucking world. I live that world, you know? And it's like, and it made me realize, I need to start reading normal books that aren't sci-fi.
It's something different, you know what I mean? Like,
Something different, because like you need a palate cleanser, and I think sci-fi and fantasy can just be so samey if you read it all, and they're so big too, those books. Like sci-fi books.
I have one right here that I still need to finish. Actually, it's probably what I'm gonna read next year. I'll show you. So I still need to finish this book, and I am.
Oh, that's beefy. That's beefy.
Yeah,
what is that?
It's called Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky, I think. But it has like, it's, 500, 600 pages. But I've read 360 pages of this, but I just ended up stopping because I would go like too long in between each session of reading. And then every time I'm reading, I'm like, I have to go back a few pages to be like, what is even happening? Right. And so I still want to finish this because I did pay for it, but it's like, and it's good. It's not like it's bad, but it's not the same as like when I was reading like both of those thrillers / murder mystery type things where it's just, the chapters are like sometimes literally 1 page or 2 pages. And you're just like, every chapter ends on being like, oh, what's going to happen now? And like these, I'm not saying that means they're better. They're just different. But these, the buildup takes a long time.
Yeah.
To really start, and it's just different, man. Like I always,
and unfortunately, sometimes you go through that buildup of 600 pages, and it wasn't even worth it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and like I enjoy the sci-fi, and like that as far as like a aesthetic, that's my favorite aesthetic. I don't know why I've always really liked that, but like, man, there's something about just like, and I get it. Like I had people message me be like, oh, you know, that book isn't great. Like they were talking about The Only One Left. They're like, it's not great, but they're like, it is a page turner. And I would always like hear that and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like for me, every time I've read, it's always been like I would have to get through it. But like now I get it, because that one I just wanted to keep reading, and I look up and it's been an hour, and that is like, as someone with ADHD,
that's such a good feeling. It's a good feeling though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, super good feeling. And
to
like being
replace
able to finish them in a couple days, it was like I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
And replacing like scrolling with that is such a healthy thing. Yeah. I honestly think media consumption that isn't TikTok, like replacing TikTok with even watching a movie, a television show, just something productive where you're not on your phone taking in brain rot, is so good for you. Like, and it sounds crazy to say that because that's what people did for centuries. But we're now going through this era of where there is genuinely so much brain rot. I haven't been reading books recently. I've actually been getting into fucking reading manga, as you can see here.
Oh, nice.
And it's fucking addicting.
Yeah.
Like it's like I've been reading Jujutsu Kaisen recently, and I started reading it because I finished the anime, and the anime hasn't obviously finished yet. Like it's only like not even halfway through the story, and I was like, the manga's finished. And I was like, I just want to fucking know what happens without being spoiled online. So I just started reading it, and I'm like, I've gone through about 60 chapters in like about a week, and like that's like a lot to get through. And I think the thing is with manga though, it's like it's very different to like comics, I'd say, and it's like there's so much to interpret in terms of like the images, and like so many different art styles and stuff like that. And it's like, I think it can be difficult to read at first, but when you get into it, it's really enjoyable. But I definitely also want to start picking up reading like actual books again. Like, as I said, I read Butter. I really enjoyed that. I think also I enjoyed that it was like set in like Japan. I find that Japanese culture interesting, and it was like really nice to hear about like the actual problems in Japan in terms of like misogyny and stuff like that. And just like the quality of life in terms of like how the work life there as well. That's like very interesting to hear. And I think that's like a real benefit to reading like crime novels that are set in the real world, you know? Yeah. So I think I might, especially hearing how you're talking about it, I think it would be good, not just to read manga, but also to like pick up an actual book and replace my scrolling through TikTok with just reading the book and actually being interested in the book.
I would recommend like checking out like whatever, like you could even look up like most popular thriller of 2025 or murder mystery, just because I can say like those books, like I was flying through them, and for no other reason than I was just interested. I just wanted to see what happened next, and it was definitely it's a good feeling being like finishing a book and be like, nice.
I think finishing a book is a really underrated feeling. Like it feels like you've actually accomplished something. I think it's like, it also like, I think reading does just make you feel a bit more intelligent. You know, like that sounds a bit like big-headed, but like just reading and taking in actual information and writing and literature, and
and you're putting yourself in other people's shoes. That's one of the biggest things that I think that really helps. Is it helps you be empathetic, because you're putting yourself in someone's shoes that you will probably never be in, especially. Like in any book, even sci-fi, all these books, like the reason they are interesting for the most part is because there's like human emotions and things that we will be like, we think to ourselves, how would I feel in that situation? And like it helps you do that. And I think that's a good thing to do for yourself, just in general.
100%, man. Yeah. Maybe next week's recording, I'll have read 2 books like you have.
Hell yeah!
How many books? So have you read 2 this week, or was it 2 over?
No. It was just 2 over like a few weeks. I haven't read one in a bit because I keep telling myself, I want to finish this before I start one, and I keep not starting. Like,
has there ever been a book that it's taken you like a year to read? Because I have a very specific book that took me about 7 months to read, and that was Dune. Dune took me so long to read.
No, I
think
it's
like just
so. If I go that long, I'm gonna give up. Like I'm just gonna.
For me, it was like I just need to finish. It's not even a long book. Yeah. It's not long. It's about 300 pages, but it was like it's so detailed in terms of its world building, and it's like, oh my god, this is such a slog. The story's good, but it's like it's just a lot, man. It's just a lot.
Yeah, that's one that I do think I would eventually want to try, because it's such a classic of the sci-fi genre, right?
It's the OG, man. It made it. It made the genre.
And so I think it'd be interesting, but it probably would be, something that would take me a bit of time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's. I think we should wrap it up there.
Yeah.
I think that was a really enjoyable podcast, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know how long. Yeah. I don't know how long we've been gone for. Honestly, I'm not really too sure what to title it, because I feel like we should just put the Ned Fulmer. I'm thinking of like it probably won't do good in terms of metadata, but I'm thinking of like some podcasts just put the topic and then put a dash, and I'm thinking like maybe the 3 main topics be like Ned Fulmer, then Charlie Kirk, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Podcasts are complicated because you speak about so many things.
Yeah.
So
especially if you're not just focused on one thing.
Yeah, and I'd rather not just focus on one thing, because like I want to just talk about anything really, because it just makes it more enjoyable. But thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe, and we will see you next Friday.
We'll see you next. We'll see you next time. Okay.
Yeah, next time. Yeah. Bye bye everyone. See you later.